Hi, my name is Miles. I'm here with Gen Khedrub, and I'll be asking him where he got to where he is today.
Yeah, thanks, Miles. So I was born in Toronto, Canada. Grew up in the suburbs with no real role models of Buddhist monks. Somehow along the way, some pretty incredible things happened. I studied economics in university, also studied Buddhism at the same time. Worked a little bit at a business job when I graduated, and made sort of a risky move to ordain as a Buddhist monk when I was 25 years old. So I've been a Buddhist monk for about 22 years now, and lived here in Seattle for the last 10 years, since 2007.
Awesome.
Here as the resident teacher at KMC Washington.
Awesome. Let's dive into it. So, why should one meditate? What are some benefits?
Sure. So I'd say three key benefits of meditation is that it's a really healthy way of dealing with stress. It gives us a chance to find a really peaceful mind, and it can also help us get some insight to really see things in perspective.
Yeah. What's some advice for beginners, for somebody just starting out?
Yeah, I'd say advice for a beginner is, first of all, trying to couch it in the idea that meditation is really easy. That I think if we go into meditation thinking it's hard, I'm not going to do it perfectly, it just becomes sort of stressful.
Yeah.
And just going in with really little expectations and thinking, I'm just going to relax, and try to sort of couch it in that context of like, it's easy, I can do it.
Not to get stressed out. Becoming more peaceful.
Excellent.
Yeah. How might meditation benefit youth differently than adults?
Yeah, really good question. So I think from Buddhist perspective, our suffering and problems is really universal, whether it's adults or youth, or whether it's like 21st century or centuries ago.
Yeah.
So the core causes of suffering, of ignorance, attachment, and anger are the same. But I think how it manifests is differently for maybe adults and youth. So maybe if you looked at how youth struggle in particular, of how to cope with incessant social media, being addicted to your smartphone, a lot of teenage depression I hear about, a lot of anxiety and panic disorders. So I think the root cause of suffering would be the same for adults and youth, but I think the benefit would be sort of the opposite of how youth are struggling in particular. For example, there's a lot of people who come to classes here in their 50s or 60s, and when I joke about texting or driving, they just don't get it. And I talk about texting and driving, and all the young people are like, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I have this constant itch and craving. So I think it helps in a universal way, but I think the symptoms are always a little different.
So on that note, do you have any advice specifically for young adults that might differ, or is it kind of all the same?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty much all the same. I think the general advice I gave of like trying to like think of it as being really easy rather than something I'm not going to be able to do perfectly.
Yeah.
And I'd say the other thing, one of the great, aspects I find of young adulthood is we got a lot of enthusiasm for new things.
Yeah.
So I'd say to learn to meditate would be like lower the bar on your expectations and try to think, I'm just going to try to do this once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Rather than going like
every day
and like gung ho. I'd say for like young folks, like chill out, just try it once a week for a few weeks, as opposed to like I'm going to do it every single day, 5 days, and then quit. I'd say because we can have a lot of enthusiasm when we're really young. I'd say to sort of temper that enthusiasm and like set a low realistic bar.
Yeah.
And just try to do it just a little.
Yeah, keep it realistic.
Yeah.
So why do you suppose that most of the people that you teach are adults?
Yeah. I'd say part of the reason adults may come more than like younger folk is that I think later in adulthood we've sort of done all the things that we think are going to give us happiness or freedom from suffering. Like we've made some money, we got a job we sort of like, we got a house. If you're in Seattle, you got a Subaru. You've sort of done the things that you thought were going to give you happiness or freedom from stress. And you get to a point where you realize, I'm still stressed out. I got all those things and it didn't fully work. Whereas I think when we're really young, our main task is like, if I could just get so much money, or if I could just get a job that pays like this, or if I could just get my own rental or buy my own home. We're still in that
move out of the
phase
house.
of like, trying to make the externals work.
Uh-huh.
And I think later in adulthood, you get all the externals and you realize, I'm still anxious, I'm still frustrated.
Yeah.
And then I think you start looking for something internal. But it's challenging when you're young because still there's that golden carrot out there of like, you can just score a well-paying job, just get this, just get that.
Yeah.
It takes sometimes a couple of years to sort of realize even when you get it, it doesn't really satiate the thirst.
That's true.
Yeah.
So how would you recommend exposing meditation to youth like me, teenagers? How would you recommend to kind of let that flourish?
Yeah. I mean, a few thoughts come to mind. One way of connecting with youth, I think, is getting more discussion about it, and also leading by example, like seeing more people who meditate, that are young kids, and I think that's what we're seeing now here at our temple. There's, a lot of kids who are coming in and meditating when they're 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna have like after school activities, probably gonna go for a huge dry patch. But like later in, they're sort of learning at a younger age, and I think that's gonna naturally evolve. And I'd say the other thing that can make it more appealing is not having to associate it with organized religion. Because I find here in the Northwest, in particular with a lot of youth, the idea of sort of like religion or religious identity, we have a lot of hesitation around it. And I mean, it's a little sidestep, but I mean, Buddhism is not a proselytizing religion. A lot of people learn meditation without the context of, I need to be a Buddhist. And I think that can make it more approachable to youth. It's like, it's something healthy you can do, whether or not you wish to identify as, I'm a member of the Buddhist religion. Doing meditation upon the breath, doing meditation on equanimity, these things are pretty universal, and if later someone chooses to label themselves, hey, I think I'm a Buddhist, that's fine. But I think sort of like empowering people to realize like you can meditate without, having to have that identity pushed on you. I think can make it a little bit more appealing.
Meditation is like just a tool that Buddhists use, and
I think
not
in
that
youth
we own it or something.
And I think in youth, we stay away a lot from like religion. I think for a lot of young people, like it's just not cool. Like parents took me to church when I was young. Like I don't want to have to do that. And I think seeing that like meditation it's a tool that's been used for thousands of years, and you can use it. You don't have to like join the religion. You can enjoy the benefits of meditation just where you're at.
All right, awesome. Thank you for talking with me.
Yeah.